Democrat senators are in a panic and trying to talk Joe Manchin out of launching a third-party presidential campaign and spoil Biden's re-election chances. The moderate Democrat remains coy on what his plans are.
There's been a lot of talk recently about the possibility of you running for president. What do you make of that? Is that just a lot of drama?
No, the bottom line is that everyone's trying to find this sensible, reasonable middle, and both the Democrat and Republican Party have gone to extremes.
Colorado Democrat John Hickenlooper says he spoke to Manchin, telling Politico, quote, "I've advised him against it. I think it would be a terrible idea. It would help Donald Trump. He looked at me and he nodded." All right, Sandra. No?
Terrible idea. And anybody who says that any Democrats who say they're worried about this idea must be in the smaller group of Democrats who have said that they actually want him to run for re-election, because we know that there's a majority of Democrats have gone on the record now saying that they don't want Joe Biden to run for re-election. That being said, where's the money, Jessica? I may defer my time to you, considering these multiple interviews in which people are expressing nervousness that early fundraising for Joe Biden has not delivered as they hoped. If things are so great in the country as this White House continues to tout, especially on the economy and otherwise, why wouldn't the money just be flowing through the door? And I think a lot of Democrats might be asking that question right now.
I think that's...
Go ahead, answer it.
Great. Well, he just started his campaign formally last Saturday. He has a bunch of fundraisers scheduled. I really don't think that money is going to be a problem on either side, frankly. I mean, people, top fundraisers, billionaires, they always come through. And it costs $1 billion to win an election now. And both of them, whoever the Republican candidate is, and Joe Biden will have that money. In terms of what's going on with this third party issue, this surrounds an organization called No Labels that they did a good thing. They created the Problem Solvers Caucus in Congress, which is a very good thing. It's a moderate place to go, Republicans and Democrats. But they've really gone too far now. So used to be that we need a good alternative to what's out there. They say Trump's an existential threat. Now they've decided that Joe Biden is, quote, too radical and hasn't gotten anything done. So Democrats are flipping out about that, and for good reason. They released their map of how a no-labels candidate, so a third-party candidate, could win the White House. And 2/3 of the electoral votes that candidate would be getting came from states that Joe Biden won. So even if Biden was going to be able to recreate his map, he would be losing then as a result of there being a third candidate, whether it's a Joe Manchin or a moderate Republican. They would toy with anything there, and it's really dangerous. And there have been a bunch of pieces lately going after Nancy Jacobson, who's high up there, and her husband, Mark Penn, who was one of Bill Clinton's pollsters. And they're not very popular these days around D.C.
Jesse, if it is Manchin, if he decides to be a third-party candidate, it not only affects Biden, obviously, but it also, you lose that Senate seat. So does that make any sense at all?
So he's going to lose the Senate seat to Justice. He's down 40 points. His seat's up, what, in 2024? So he's trying to save face, bail out on the Senate re-election campaign, and go nationally with a third-party run. And he'll play spoiler. He won 300,000 votes in West Virginia. Biden only won Georgia by 11,000. He only won Arizona by 10,000. You don't think Manchin could get a couple thousand in some of these razor-thin margin states to play spoiler? Absolutely. But if I were Joe Biden, I'd be worried about the IRS whistleblower that just came out today and said the Department of Justice blocked 2 felony charges against his son, blocked investigations into the big guy, gave Hunter Biden a heads up when there were search warrants at 2 properties. And then they have this text message where Hunter's threatening the Chinese, saying, my dad's right here, and if you don't pay up now, there's going to be consequences. I don't know how long the Democrats could ignore this stuff, but, I mean, how many whistleblowers is it going to take?
I'd love to get into the whistleblowers, but what about RFK? How does he play into any of this? You're a fan of RFK.
I think if RFK ran independently, he would peel off a lot of Republicans. I think if Manchin ran independently, he would peel off a lot of Democrats. That's why I want to see 4.
4.
I want to see 4. You know, but it's really hard for me to continue because, I always go by the advice of John Hickenlooper.
Yeah.
It's like, that's the first time.
Colorado.
It's the first time we ever called on John Hickenlooper for advice. Look, Manchin's always had two pluses. Number one, like Rand Paul, he's always the odd man out. So his vote always counts more than all of his peers. And that makes his status elevated. And also, as a Democrat, he's kind of acts like an adult, right? You wouldn't see him or RFK Jr. participating in an attack on Riley Gaines. They would not do that. Or they wouldn't push a dossier for 4 years. They wouldn't call riots mostly peaceful. They wouldn't label parents as terrorists. The point being is that moderate Democrats aren't interested in framing people as bad. They're beyond politics as punishment. I've seen RFK Jr. talk about getting out of the prison of two ideas. So the bottom line is these are old school Democrats, and I kind of really miss them. You know, I kind of like having them around because they're always your backup guy, right? You know, when you don't have a date for the prom, Jesse.
Or you need a Supreme Court justice.
Yes, exactly. But it's like, you know, what fills that hole in the Democrat Party? It's been pretty bad. So I think that's why these people are attractive, even with some of RFK's troubling health beliefs. He still comes off as a sane adult compared to like the Dick Durbins of the world, which is atrocious, disgusting human being.
Yes. We're going to end on that because I want to put an exclamation to that.